The person who is overseeing this, and I'm not giving Trump any credit, but I will at least say this much. Trump did not immediately go along with what's being said about Pretti and what happened. However, what is happening is this Mr. Bovino, who is in charge of ICE, who's really in charge of the Gestapo, let's be honest. This is a modern day Heinrich Himmler, if you will. Well, this is what was addressed at a press conference he gave today regarding the identity or identities of the assassins of Alex Pretti.
Commander Bovino, when it comes to the shooting, from what I understand, there were 2 agents who fired shots. We know one of the agents had 8 years experience, and we know he was a less lethal instructor and had this training. What did the other agent, what was his history, and are they both working right now, or are they on administrative leave?
All agents that were involved in that scene are working, not in Minneapolis, but in other locations. That's for their safety.
That's for their safety. So they are working. They've just been put on no administrative leave. They've just been shipped to another location.
The other ICE agents you're talking about.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's like priests, right? They're not going to get rid of them.
God damn it. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah,
you raped this boy. We're going to put you in this other parish.
And can we talk about this guy? Can we talk about this guy? I honestly, this piece of shit is just so unbelievably transparent in his insecurity that it's unreal. It is just unreal. So, I mean, we're bringing out understanding small dick energy in the wild, the premier guide to navigating the micropenis forest, just for this guy, because yeah.
So what exactly happened to this Mr. Bovino when he was growing up or when he was an adult before he was with ICE? Apparently, this guy has quite a history, doesn't he?
I am not, I have seen, again, nothing verified, that there have been not such complimentary things said about him from people who knew him back in high school.
And got shoved in lockers and things like that. And apparently,
did this guy? Because that's how he. Oh, he did really?
No, all I'm asking you.
What about it? I mean, this is someone to me that has a huge chip on his shoulder. Like, yeah, this is somebody who wore kick me signs on his back for years and has vowed vengeance.
Well, you told me earlier that he apparently that there were like teachers coming out saying that he used.
I'm saying, again, this is not confirmed. It was something that I saw, that apparently there were teachers that came out and said that he got busted in school jacking off. I'm just saying, I don't know. Again, this is not confirmed. It is not a news source. I'm just saying, there are some very unflattering things being said about him. And honestly, it doesn't matter what is said about him from back then. What matters is that he's a complete piece of shit right now. So
okay, so just confirmed in the Atlantic, Greg Bovino has been fired. So somebody obviously
goodbye.
So somebody clearly was going to get it, and he's getting it.
I was kind of hoping, look, if it's going to be him, it's going to be him, whatever. But I was kind of hoping for, the Cuntosaurus to take the fall.
You can't, again, listen, I totally want to screw that lady, so I really can't let go of her. So take the ugly guy away.
I was really hoping that then again, right. So she's one of his, MAGA Barbies. So yeah, the little guys.
They can't all be blonde. He's got to have one brunette mixed in there. Yeah. So according to the Atlantic, Greg Bovino loses his job. The Border Patrol chief has been ousted from his role as Commander at Large. What a name! What a title! And will return to El Centro. Interesting.
Wait, he's going back to what? Where is he going? What rock is he going back under?
I guess he's from California, Central California, I believe.
Yeah, bye-bye.
So,
Go,
yeah.
go, you know, I hate to say it because it's like nobody deserves to have to deal with him, but it's like, go back and abuse the people where you work and your own family.
Well, that, of course, I think that's where the bigger problem is here, is that the reason I believe he's being fired is because he's really bad at PR, not because they don't think he did a good job. If they thought that he was protecting ICE's image from a PR standpoint, he'd still have the job. They probably think he's doing a shitty job, so they got to kick him out. It's like,
right. No, he's, again, for sure, he's not losing his job because somebody at the top thinks that ICE crossed the line and this guy needs to be accountable. No. He's losing his job because he's just the one that got stuck with his pants down and somebody has to pay for it. That's it. It's not some sort of like statement on their morality.
No, but then again, this is not an organization that has morality. They don't again, this is the difference between regular law enforcement and ICE. Regular law enforcement has bad apples that anyone who's worth their weight in anything in law enforcement doesn't do anything about, and it basically renders the entire concept of law enforcement to be irrelevant and shouldn't exist. And that's their own doing. Whereas with ICE, they're all terrible.
Yeah.
They're all bad. The type of people that are attracted to this type of work, and keep in mind, ICE has only been around for just a little over 20 years. Where do you think ICE came from? It came as a response to 9/11, which we now all know is an Israel special inside job. So what in the fuck do you think ICE was about? ICE is no different than the Patriot Act. This was something that was sitting on the fucking shelves that they were trying to figure out how they could pass it. And then they pull, what there was like a code name. Operation Big Event was the name of 9/11. So they had their big event. And now you have this shit. So how long is it going to be before people say, yeah, I think we can do away with this?
Well, yeah, ICE is, and again, I still think that their existence is unconstitutional. I think they are unconstitutional in how they have been created. I think it's unconstitutional in how they've been funded. I think there's a lot of things there that are a problem. But and let me be clear, as somebody who supports abolition, I don't believe that I don't believe that like good policing is a thing. So, I do believe that there are some people that do go into policing and law enforcement that do have decent intentions, depending on where they live and depending on the department. I do believe there are a few, right? There's none in ICE. No. There's not a single person in ICE that is in any way, shape, or form somebody who cares about justice.
I would 1,000%.
Not any. There are, I do believe that some people do go into law enforcement, although I believe it's misguided and I believe it's ineffectual in that way, that do potentially want to make a difference and help and do believe in justice. I do. Yeah. But not with ICE.
Yeah, by the way, I'm glad to see Rusty back in the chat. I know who Rusty is. I don't know why he was kicked out.
I don't either. What, guys, please, I saw what was happening. I messaged to Colin.
Can't we all just get along? Not with this guy. Last time we'll be hearing from this sorry sack of shit.
There's this thing called doxing, and the safety of our employees is very important to us. So we're going to keep those employees safe. As far as the number of shots, the number of agents involved, that, again, is going to come out in the investigation.
Not from you anymore.
Hey, Rusty, what happened? I'm sorry. I got it. Why did you even get blocked? Who did that? What's going on?
Let him expect. That's fine. Let's stay focused.
I care about my peeps, Peter. Okay. Yeah.
Well, we obviously have to also care about this scumbag finally being let go. But when you talk about scummy people, again, this is the problem here. You have this douche canoe who's now on his way out because somebody had to fall. But then you have this from earlier today with Kash Patel and Maria Bartiromo, who Bartiromo is always a mouthpiece for Trump and for the GOP. And even she couldn't hold it in.
Thousands of people are marching through Minneapolis. They are targeting the Border Patrol. I mean, it feels like the rhetoric and the protesting is only ramping up. What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that.
Where's that? I'd like to know where that's written. I want to know what code he is referencing. Is there a USC code that he's referencing on that? Because I've never heard of that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that people can have concealed carry permits legally. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, somebody wrote it on a memo and he decided to read it off. Like, again, he's such a dumbass that it's entirely possible that he might actually believe that that's the case. That's the scary part.
Well, the thing that bothers me about him, I get such a good image for a graphic. He's always a deer in headlights. He constantly looks like a deer in headlights. He is so unbelievably fighting outside of his weight class in this job that it's hard for me to blame him for anything because he's just so unbelievably inept. Like he's so incapable. But just saying that, like that there's a law against that. And
there's some people who can dance on the head of a pin when it comes to talking about law enforcement, that they actually can, they can fudge the line, if you will. There is no fudging of the line here. And he did not come to that protest physically engaging with those ICE agents. He was filming and he was armed, and that is his legal right to do so.
But no, here's the more important thing, and people need to really understand this. The fact that they're using his carrying of a concealed weapon as any sort of like pretense for what happened, when they didn't even know he was carrying until after they had him down on the ground, because he was properly concealed carrying in a holster behind him on his back. So he was holding a phone in one hand. Yeah, he was holding a phone in one hand, had his hand up in the other, and he had his firearm in the back. So how would they have seen that from what was going on until after they had him on the ground? They saw the firearm, they disarmed him, it was completely taken out of the picture, and then they executed him. And then they actually have the nerve to say it has something to do with the fact that he had a firearm.
But don't forget what we discussed earlier, which is being ignored here. Once again, guys, it's like playing detective. You can't miss the important details when you're going through, I don't want to say the autopsy, but when you're going through forensics in the crime scene, you have to look for the most important pieces of evidence. And to me, the most important piece of evidence is not the two ICE officers that shot and killed Alex Pretti. It's the first ICE officer that started the whole thing, shoving that woman to the ground and then proceeding to take the can of mace and shoot it into Alex Pretti's face like he was trying to kill him. Because again, one shot of mace to the eyes, you're probably going down. It's going to blind you. It's going to make you tear, and it's going to hurt like a mother. And if you're doing it excessively, nonstop for many seconds, you could probably kill him. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, and I think that's an important point, because at the end of the day, every single one of those agents that was holding him down could have just as easily been the one to mace him or shoot him, because every single one of these thugs, okay, is like weekend warrior, want to play commando with as many weapons as possible. These are people that either couldn't cut it in the military, were discharged from the military, fired from other law enforcement. These are people that are so desperate because, again, I mean, it's a very small dick energy thing, but these are not people that are going to, be reserved and use good judgment. These are people that are all wanting to use their weapons. So yeah, I agree that we need to go back and everybody needs to be taking note as to who these people are and doing the best we can to track these people down, like we did with the first piece of shit when he murdered Renee Good. So all of these people will be discovered. But I just think that you singling, like, every single one of those guys will be the next one who does this.
And
That's
this
what
is
I'm saying.
actually-
They're all the same.
And that's what, and that also brings in what Ken Klippenstein said, which is there's a lot of ICE agents who don't like what's going on. And if there's enough of them, what's eventually going to happen is one of them is going to leak the names. That's how it's going to happen. And this is very much like the Turning Point USA employees who knows what, the likes of Andrew Colvett and Tyler Boyer and the rest of them are doing within that organization. As you often say, Jen, the call is always coming from inside the house.
But then you see this. Look at this.
He should not have resisted. He was responsible for his own actions. Again, that's
you didn't see the same video we've seen.
Yeah,
he wasn't resisting anything. He was helping someone.
All right, so once again, and I will say this, let me give you all that not woke with your Pennywise psychopathic screenshot. I'm sure you're just like your profile pic. Am I right? Let me give you this. Let me give you all of it. Let's say all those things are true. You think he deserved to die?
Exactly. That's the point. Exactly. That's how far over the Overton window has shifted.
Right. Why don't you look at what just happened today in Paris, France, when the police were trying to stop a Free Palestine protest? See what happens there. You see, you're the type of fuckhead who actually would say, yeah, they should have shot all those Free Palestine protesters. This is the only country.
Or these Second Amendment enthusiasts, that are all fine with that until somebody actually lawfully is using their Second Amendment right.
That's fine.
But yeah.
And I am a Second Amendment enthusiast. Like, I fully believe in the right to bear arms. So the fact that you're trying to pull this shit is hysterical. You are a cuck for the state. And that's it. And again, either you're libertarian conservative or you are a cuck conservative. At this point, as far as I'm concerned, there's no difference, or there is a difference, and that's the only difference. It's just that, period. You really think this is about illegal immigration? You're still convinced that that's what this is about?
That's just where it started.
If you think that we couldn't stop illegal immigration overnight in this country, of course we can. Why don't we? Because the multinational corporations that own this country, own our government, and pay slave wage want it that way. Some come in, some leave. They create jobs. It's all part of the military defense budget. How the fuck can't you see this? How can anybody not see at this point what this system is? You're just blind. That's it. Period.
Simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios and people attacking law enforcement. That's when you go over the line, and that's when law enforcement steps in.
Well, I have not seen that anywhere. I've not seen anybody attacking law enforcement. So apparently, I'm not seeing the same footage that Kash Patel is.
I'm not convinced that he even knows how to operate a firearm. He's probably one of those guys.
I don't think he's, well, what's his experience in any form of law enforcement? I mean, to me, it's sort of like McMahon for education. Like, it's just someone that got stuck there. These people have no knowledge of anything in which what they're doing.